Alongside FANzine Live, I also run a small press publishing house. It's called Phoenix Productions, where I create and publish my own comics and zines. It's a passion project. It lets me tell stories and experiment and support the kind of creative work that I truly love. And I would be thrilled to share it with you. If that sounds like something you might enjoy, check out the preview coming up next and give it a try if you're interested. And as always, enjoy the video. Hey everyone, it's Tom. It's FANzine Live. We're back at it with Classic Zines. Do you remember way back when there was a series of comics that were created on computer, like a Macintosh, such as Shatter, the first computer-generated comic from First Comics back in the 80s? Well, they weren't the only people, First Comics, to try working on a computer and see what they could come up with from an art point of view. There also was Screaming Comics. 8-page mini-comic. This is their first collector's item issue. Talking about Screaming Guy. Is he the new Max Headroom? It's an 8-page mini-comic. Standard quarter-page piece. Not necessarily saddle stitch, but it's stapled together. And it's done by Steve Berlin and Valerie Kahn. And it says right at the beginning, we've got a Macintosh and we're going to use it. This is really interesting from a technology and art point of view because these folks took the basics of a Macintosh computer, an early Macintosh computer. We were looking at 1986, mind you. They decided to try to translate it into comics. And here's what they came up with. The Screaming family had a TV OD. They're at home being couch potatoes as usual. So they created a couch, just basic shapes. You can see the different people's hair and their heads. I'm going to blow up your TV set. Looks like Letterman. Got some dust kitties underneath. And then boom, it says. Oh, it's Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson blew up the TV set. I'll have to buy a new TV. Look at this. They're doing panels. They've used different types of text. They've been drawing with a mouse because, of course, there's no such thing in this as a Cintiq tablet or pen-based work or any of that. So this is really pretty impressive. Have to buy a new TV. You're right, Screaming Guy. And then the Screaming Dog. So then they drew their car. They get in the car and go to the local TV store, and they're screaming along the way. Next panel, look, it's the TV store. Very good, Screaming Boy. Different textures, sign in the window, sign on the door. Kind of neat. Looks like a good one. We'll take it. Very good, ma'am. Looks like Tina Turner there singing What's Love Got to Do with It? So the kids and mom and dad and the kids bring home their new possession. They're singing We're Gonna Zoom, 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 Zoom. The old Zoom show from WGBH in Boston on public television. They're singing that as they carry their TV home on top of their car. However, when Screaming Guy tries to figure out how to set up the television set, he screams, the dog barks. Oh no, looks like he's confused. Meanwhile, Screaming Lady notices, oh no, Screaming Boy just ripped out the insides of the TV set, she screams. He's in trouble now. So that's Screaming Girl, I guess. However, it looks like Screaming Boy has something else in mind. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, Screaming Girl. And there he is. He's inside the TV. Haha, this is better than the regular TV. There are all the TV guts right there. And as Shakespeare says, all's well that ends well. And he should know. Folks, I found this interesting. I was thinking about it from a number of perspectives. The innovation, 1986, doing this stuff on computer. It's pretty impressive. But also, and I know it's a bit of a controversial topic, but the whole idea of AI in computers, in many ways, I wish I had perspective on back in the 80s. Were people scared of computer-based illustration and comics making? I'm sure that there were purists who said that the stuff they were doing on Shatter was illegitimate comics. But I'd love to hear if anybody has any perspective on what happened back in the 80s, because I think that some of the stuff like this could very well be seen in parallel to the discussions of AI today. This clearly is an amateurish effort, but now everybody's using computers. Think about it. Adobe Illustrator and what's the Apple Pro Draw or whatever that is. They're all using Cintiq tablets. So this was the beginning of that line. And now we're getting away from pens and brushes and the like. We're using computers. I'm just kind of mulling it all over. I don't really have an opinion yet, but it is worth thinking about because this was the beginning of the computer revolution as it related to comics and mini comics. Something to think about. Why don't you like the video? Subscribe to FANzine Live and tell your friends. Get a piece of history. Share some discussion about perhaps computers, comics, creativity, how it all fits together. I'd love to have some dialogue on that with you. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This is Tom. It's FANzine Live Classic Zines, where we've looked at Screaming Comics #1 from 1986. They had a Macintosh. They weren't scared to use it. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day. I will catch you next time.